I'm Don Guevara. The first clear view we have of kids in Torneo now coming as KTSM also on the scene as CBP tries to turn away asylum seekers, including children.
And I'm Natasha Paloma. It comes down to the definition of the word deny. News Channel 9's Patrick Hayes is at the Paso del Norte Bridge, where families are seeking help. Patrick.
A very hectic morning along the U.S.-Mexico border as Customs and Border Protection turned away immigrant families seeking asylum, essentially telling them that the U.S. was closed.
We need to have a supervisor over here. Just stop right here, okay? Stop right here, sir.
I was there with volunteers from the Annunciation House when 3 families tried crossing. This woman holding up a sign that detailed her story in Spanish. The group was met at the top of the Paso del Norte Bridge by Customs and Border Protection agents who initially told the families they would have to wait for an unknown period of time or come back later. Listen as you hear the woman explain why she and her son are fleeing Guatemala and what CBP agents tell her.
Over there are a lot of criminals, and they wanted me to give them all the money I earned at my job. It bothered me, so I had to stop going to work, and that meant my son couldn't afford to go to school.
We are not denying them anything.
Well,
we're just saying we cannot do it at this time.
In effect, it is a denial. When she comes and says, I'm afraid, I'm asking for asylum, and she's not allowed to cross this line, that is a denial. That is pure simply a denial. That's what it is.
We're just saying we cannot do it at this time.
The man defending the group is Ruben Garcia of the Annunciation House, who helped escort some of the families into the U.S. so they could formally seek asylum. The Annunciation House working with the group on the Mexican side of the border to help families with food and shelter as they wait to cross. But organizers say that those resources are pretty scarce. In fact, they don't have enough volunteers to help everyone illegally seeking shelter in the U.S. Reporting in downtown El Paso, Patrick Hayes, News Channel 9.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Now let's take a moment here to make the situation a little more clear. The people declaring themselves at our ports of entry and seeking asylum are not the same as people who get caught illegally crossing in the desert or are found to be living in the U.S. without the proper documents. Diocesan Migrant and Refugee Services tells us the law requires that when someone reaches U.S. soil, they are allowed to apply for asylum and go through a credible fear interview.
If they pass that credible fear interview, they get a positive result, then they go before an immigration judge.
And again, Lopez went on to say, by law, unaccompanied children arriving in the U.S. are required to be held and given care and services appropriate for children.